Hello, Team 19. I hope everyone's had a very relaxing weekend because next weekend is not going to be that. This video is just to give you some more insight and understanding around the logistics and the mechanisms involved with miniMAD, the shifts in terms of how they're going to work on the road, as well as how base camp is actually going to be run. We've had to make a couple adjustments and a few changes. So I think the theme of this year's miniMAD is literally hashtag rock up and run. This is just the practice. If we don't, it's like a budget version. So there's a lot of things that we need to kind of shift around and move around, which actually makes miniMAD a little bit more difficult than the main event would actually be. So I hope that makes you feel a little bit better, that miniMAD is going to be hard, yes, but once that's over it, we all understand the shifts and the logistics and how everything works, that when we get together on the main event, actually things run quite smoothly, and it's a very slow, easy process. It's not as time crunched as miniMAD will feel. So why we've had to make a few adjustments is because we were waiting on a logistic / vehicle partner, and I can announce that we have found one, which is a miracle. We have found this company Bus Truck, actually through one of the runners who are part of the very first team, and this company Bus Truck South Africa, they're going to be supplying all of the vehicles that we need. So, and from a 9-ton truck to custom building a bike trailer for us, we're going to have everything that we need for the main event. And along with Dev, one of our runners from this year, has actually organized us a 60-seater bus, also at no cost to us. So all of our logistics are sorted out for the main event, but we do have a few hiccups for miniMAD. That being that we don't have as many vehicles available to us for the weekend, as well as that they're going to have to come along with drivers because we're not going to have time to get specific insurance in place. So what I want to show you, sorry, I'm using this tool called Zoom. I'm going to show you a document. Right. So this is the updated miniMAD document, and I will email this through to everybody. But I want to just take you through it and try and explain and answer any questions that you might have. But please feel free to give me a shout during the week if there's something else you'd like to know. Okay. So first thing that you need to know is this timeline table. Here is very important. We need everybody at base camp 1 at 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon. Okay, we need to cover a whole lot of admin at that time. We need to get you to sign indemnity forms. We need to get a hard copy of your ID as well as your medical aid card. And we're going to start scouting out where the tents are going to be pitched. So that's going to be happening from 4 o'clock till 5 o'clock. Then at 5 o'clock, you'll have your safety and security briefing from Sean. He is going to just speak to you around how to, navigate with the pace vehicle, how to run safely, what are the sort of precautions you need to take, as well as just chatting to you a little bit more about when you're in the car, who's responsible for doing what, and how those changeovers are actually going to happen. And the first shift of runners are actually going to be starting at 6 p.m. So it is critical that everybody's there, and please, I do need everybody in there mad to run t-shirt for that very first shift. We are going to have a film crew there actually filming the start, so that would be very important. And then our run actually finishes at 8 a.m. on the Sunday, after which we'll have a team breakfast, a bit of a debrief, and then we will hop onto buses and pace vehicles and things like that and head straight back to Pirates. So guys, essentially where logistics would or could work, so either you're going to drive yourself from work to Pirates on Friday, or you're going to catch an Uber to Pirates on Friday. There will be security there, so we're going to lock the cars up for the weekend, and when the buses and pace vehicles, shuttle vehicle, everything brings us back from Pirates to Pirates on Sunday morning, your car will be there, or you can catch a ride with somebody or Uber yourself back home. So, if you do drop your car off at Pirates on Friday, it should be safe. Right, so that is the address for Pirates, as well as the address for our base camp 2, which is the Anatomic Factory in Parys. Okay, right. What you'll see here is the changes that we've had to make. So we've now got our 2 crews going into 2 pace vehicles. So green crew is going to be in your, what would be a normal size pace vehicle, which gets modified into a 6-seater car with the back seats taken out with 2 single mattresses at the back. So you have space to sit or space to lie down, stretch, sleep, cuddle in the back. And our yellow pace vehicle, which is in a super size pace vehicle, which has been modified to be a 10-seater vehicle with the back seats taken out, which will also have 2 mattresses at the back. What you'll see here that's different is that there's no distinction now between who's runner and who's a driver, because we're going to have the drivers that have been supplied to us by Bus Truck actually driving the cars. They, however, are going to have 0 responsibility around navigation. It is still your team's responsibility to know where you need to be and at what time. Okay, that really is the critical component to actually getting this moving in the timelines that get set out. So for yellow crew, this is where the, the gears of just rock up and run is going to have to really take center stage. It's then very difficult to set up specific kilometers that people can, run sequentially, but rather you're going to have a number of people in the car. So you're probably looking at 10, 11 people in a car, and we need everybody to still try and run their 15 kilometers. So you're going to have 3 or 4 people running at the same time. So it is something you just have to get a feel for it. You will arrive, you'll start at Pirates, and you will have time to have a little bit of a discussion about, who wants to be the first 2 or 3 runners to actually start that responsibility. And then you can decide, do you want to run 5Ks, take a break, 5Ks, take a break? Do you want to run 15? And everybody will just kind of have to figure out how to cover that 60 Ks with everybody still trying to get their kilometers in. If you want to run more, please do run more. If you feel like you are not quite there, or you've got a little bit of nerves and you want to run a little bit less, it's okay, because the responsibility is slightly different to what it would be for the main event, where you actually have to cover your kilometers. So yellow shifts, just try and make sure that you're covering your kilometers, and you try and run at a pace, like if you're running in any kind of group setting, that everybody's running at a comfortable pace. If you can't keep up, rather hop into the pace vehicle and see if you can hit, with somebody else and try and cover your case at a different time. Right, now let's actually explain how the shifts are going to work, right? It's slightly easy for shift 1. You're all going to pile into the cars at Pirates, and you're just going to go. Okay. What is important is the beginning of every single shift that you start the odometer at 0. That is how we actually keep track of how many kilometers you have gone. So what is important is to please make sure that you actually follow this Strava link, and you don't have to have signed up with Strava to actually access it, but I am going to open up the link here. Right. Here is our Strava route all the way from Johannesburg out to Parys. So we do a little bit of a run out through the cradle, down through the south of Joburg, bit of a squiggle out here, and into Parys. So what is important to understand is, how do you know, if you're then in shift 2, how to get to the 60K mark and by when? Right, so what you'll see, so let's take this for an example. So shift 1 starts at 6 o'clock and it will end at midnight. So on our main WhatsApp group, that is purely going to be used for communication purposes. So what becomes very important is that the crew on the road are constantly communicating as to how many Ks they've done, sharing pins, live locations, and things like that, so that the crew, the second crew or the next crew coming up, actually has a heads up of knowing, because sometimes you're going to run a little bit faster or a little bit slower, which is absolutely fine, guys, and you're going to have people in your pace vehicle who are going to run faster than you, and you're going to have people in your pace vehicle that run slower than you. It all averages out in the end, but it's also just important to have communication in case you are really behind or you're really ahead of what you actually thought. So everyone needs to know, so that we can actually plan. There's only going to be one shuttle vehicle. So green and yellow, you don't necessarily have to stick near each other, but that one shuttle vehicle that's going to come through with all of the shift 2 runners have to relieve both yellow and green. So then we're going to get to midnight, which means if you have a look over here, these spots are our changeover spots and at what time. So this is where it becomes really important that everybody understands, okay, I'm in shift 2, which means at midnight, I need to be at the 60K mark, which is here, the R563. So what that means I need to do is I need to go and open up my Strava map, and I need to go and find the road, okay? And this can get slightly tedious, but I'm just gonna find it quickly because I do know where it is. There we go, the R53. So this is out by the Stagfontein Caves, so that's pretty cool. So what becomes important is you go and you find your road and you find your spot. So now you know, right, we need to leave Pirates to get out to the Stagfontein Caves by midnight. And so it's important to start putting that into your GPS or putting it into Waze. Now it gives you an idea of about how far away you are. Then you will know what time you need to leave. And again, guys, there's going to be, on average, or on the main event, there's going to be 18 of you getting into one shuttle vehicle to go. So don't feel too much pressure, but if everybody knows where they need to be, makes it a lot easier. You guys will then need to make sure that you have packed your bag and everything that you need, your car boxes, your food, your drinks, everything, and you need to leave Pirates that you can be at that spot at midnight. Okay, so you guys will be watching the WhatsApp group. You will get an idea of exactly what time they'll be getting there. Shift 1 will stop at the 60-kilometer mark. They will stop their vehicles. They will drop a pin. Shuttle vehicle will come and meet them. This is now what we call a changeover. So what that means, and we do need these to run quite smoothly and quite quickly. It is very exciting to see your friends and how did it go, and it's very exciting. But if we take too long in the changeovers, it delays all of our time. And especially with one pace vehicle having twice as many people in it, we are hoping it doesn't take twice as long. So you will have big dustbin bags in your pace vehicle. It will always be important to be courteous and to leave the pace vehicle as you found it. So please use those trash bags, put all of your rubbish and things in there, collect everything that's yours. A top tip here might actually be to label your things, especially when we get to main event. We've all got the same kind of shirts and shorts and socks, that you label everything and you know what is yours. Right, so then what you'll do is you will have your changeover. So everybody, and I'll explain the food a little bit separately though, but you'll take everything that's yours, you'll get into the shuttle vehicle, that shuttle vehicle is going to go back to Pirates. So the shuttle vehicle will always go back to the closest base camp. For miniMAD, that first shuttle back to base camp, shift 2 then begins. And you will then run from midnight until 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, at 6 a.m., at the 120-kilometer mark, there is then on the other side of Randfontein, you will see the next changeover point. Again, it's about going back to the map, mapping out your 60 Ks, and it's around about here. So you will then also work out, if I need to be there at 6 a.m. in the morning, what time do I need to leave Pirates? So I will also explain base camp separately, just so that you understand. So I hope that that makes sense in terms of how the shifts are going to work. So when you are finished your run, okay, you get into the shuttle vehicle and you guys will drive back to the nearest base camp. All right. Then it's up to crew 3 to check when they need to go for their third shift. The end of shift 3, okay, what we've got scheduled here right in the middle of it is what we call a recoup. What that means is it is a space of time where nobody's actually running. There's 2 reasons why we do this. 1 is to try and get everybody together. And 2, it's the fat in case we take too long. In miniMADs gone by, we never have this time because the changeovers always take too long and we never have it. So it's there as a buffer. But what we've ideally like to plan is that everybody then will be in Paris at this time to have lunch. We've got a big braai planned. The riders will be riding in. We're hoping to all have lunch together during that time. So shift 3, when you are finished, no one's coming to relieve you. You will get into the pace vehicles, okay, and you will just drive straight to Anatomic with the address there. Okay, then we'll have lunch, and then shift 3 will go out to their point, start, and we just get straight back onto the route and continue. So that's kind of how the running relay works. Then to just sort of explain, so yeah, and I hope that just makes sense about how, but this is the most critical table that you'll actually have, is to know what time you need to be aware for your changeover. That's the most important thing. And to just keep referencing your Strava map. So please make sure that you've got a printout of the map, because GPS, signal sometimes can be a little bit sticky, but if at least you've got one printout between 18 of you, everyone will be fine. But again, really, really important that you understand your route, where you're taking left turns and right turns. Okay, then this quickly, so that you know, Mad to Ride are then going to be having a ride out to Parys on Saturday morning. So they will be leaving at about 5:30 in the morning, driving through Soweto. They're going to be joined by the Soweto Cycling Club and their youth development, which is their young kids that ride, and they're going to ride out, join us in Parys, spend the night in Parys. We're all going to have breakfast together on Sunday. They'll be a part of the team brief, and then they're going to ride out back to Joburg. So that's what's happening with them. Okay, now what's really important to understand is base camp. So when we arrive on Friday, we will start setting up the base camp. So that means setting up tents, putting mattresses into the tents, all of which we have available already. And we will be using the kitchen at Pirates to start cooking meals, preparing food that needs to go into the car boxes. And so that becomes a responsibility of the people who are then in shift 2 and shift 3. So if you're in shift 2, you kind of have a slightly tougher time, because your shift starts at midnight. So you need to arrive at base camp, try and eat something, or, just that you've filled your stomach. But what would be important for you is to go and find a tent. We'll make sort of separate sections. So there's like a noisy camp section and then a quiet camp section, and that's where you will grab something to eat and preferably go and have a nap before you have to leave. We do have people in the past who just don't sleep for like the whole weekend, who want to stay up and have a couple drinks and have a party. That's entirely up to you, as long as you're covering your kilometers and not annoying everybody around you. But ideally, you want to get as much rest as you can when you get an opportunity. Okay, so we'll set up base camp that night. We'll prepare food. We've got 2 chefs from HTA, the chef school, as well as our head nutritionists who are going to be helping us preparing the meal. But that food will be taken care of. Eat, sleep. Okay, then we will be leaving. So in the morning again, we will be preparing breakfast, which we will eat at Pirates, and we will then pack up everything that we have. So it's taking down tents, taking out mattresses, taking bags, all of those kinds of things, packing it up, and we head out to Parys at about 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. If you are on the road while that shift is happening, what we need you to do is you have to make sure that your bags are packed and labeled. So what we usually do is we get some duct tape, we stick it on there with a permanent mark, and we'll write your name, and we'll have a bag drop point. So you need to make sure that when you don't need your things and you know base camp is going to be changing, that you have packed up everything that you need to have packed up. So then when we pack up the whole of base camp, all of your belongings get onto the big truck and it goes through to Parys. So when you finish shift, so when shift 3 finishes and you arrive in Parys, all of your stuff will be there. So that's how that will kind of work. But again, myself and Sean, we'll be helping you walk through all of that stuff as we move through it. Okay, what else is important? Guys, only 2 people have come back to me with any sort of dietary requirements, but we try and look after everything. So if there's anything specific that you need to let me know about, please do let me know about. But if there's anything on here that you just don't like, then you are more than welcome to replace that yourself. The food situation is also an interesting one, because it's like we have yearly, annual trends. So sometimes we do lots of samis and then nobody eats them, so we don't do them for the main event. And then other times that's all people eat, or lots of bananas, or it always kind of changes. So this is our general meal plan as to what would be generally available, but we actually use this as a basis to say, look, we bought all these bananas and no one ate bananas, or no one drank whatever. Okay, so this is a learning curve for us. But what is really important here, guys, is one, everyone's contributing 200 Rand towards food and fuel and accommodation and all of that kind of stuff. And for the main event, Spa are going to be taking care of our food bill. But waste is always a bit of an issue, where people drink half of a Coke or eat half of a yogurt and then discard it. We really need to, all be quite conscientious that we are a fundraising event. And so these kinds of things cost us money. So if you don't need to eat something, or you're not going to finish something, rather don't open it or try and share it with somebody else. So whatever we don't need to eat or drink, whatever is a non-perishable item that we can keep for the main event, let's try and keep all of that kind of stuff, and not just use whatever we need to use because it's there, but rather let's be very considerate and conscientious about what we're eating and what we're consuming. It's also a time for you to learn about your body. Some people eat a lot while they're on their shifts. Some people eat nothing. So we will have car box items available to you. And so what we say is, when I say a car box, it's cooler boxes. So there'll be a whole lot of things available to you. So boiled eggs, boiled potatoes, biltong, peanuts, raisins, a whole bunch of different things. You need to pack that before the shuttle leaves. Okay, and we often have this with people, then forget to pack their car boxes, and then they get onto the road and then everyone shares with them, and then it's a little bit, makes you a little bit grumpy if you packed everything that you wanted to eat and now you've had to share half of it because someone forgot their food. So again, it's just about knowing what is it that you need and making sure that you have access to that. So yeah, take a little bit of food, but let's just not spoil food that does not need to be spoiled. Right, I just want to make sure I'm covering everything. Okay, so that's all the food and drinks, and then we'll have essentially at all base camps, breakfast, lunch, and supper is available, as well as snacks during the day. But it's for you to get a feel for what you want to eat, and then once we experience this weekend, we can know what it is that you are more inclined to eating. Right, this list is very important. It's the packing list. So guys, you really do need to know what you have to bring with yourself. You have to be responsible. And this is where we start to have, or what starts to make this journey difficult, is when you need to start sharing a lot of the stuff that you have with people who have forgotten to bring the stuff that they needed to bring. Although no one minds sharing, it does become a cause for conflict and contention, because people are bringing what they need. So if we can all be self-sustaining and we don't necessarily have to rely on the other person to give up what they've packed, then we can all get along a little bit easier. But so please make sure that you bring pillow, sleeping bag, your own towel, all of your usual toiletries, everything that you would need. Essentially pack like you are going on a camping trip. There will be tents and there will be mattresses, but everything else you kind of need to bring with you. We will have medical aid kits available, but we do not have the paramedics following us 24/7 like we would have at the main event, purely because it's a cost-saving decision, but it's also because we're not actually that ever far from anything, so it's not as necessary as it would be for the main event. But if you bring your general things that you think you would need, we will have any of the major medical aid things available. Sunblock is exceptionally important, guys. Please make sure you have that packed, and water bottles. Please bring your own water bottle and please label it. All right, I must be honest with you, I've got an entire box in my garage of unmarked water bottles that everyone brings along, and they actually, I don't know, I think people kind of get over it and they just leave them. I don't understand why. But mark your water bottle and make sure that you have always got so much water on you. And just a top tip to those of you who are running in the night shift, do not think because you're not hot, because you're not running in the sun, daylight, that you are not going to dehydrate. That is actually where people dehydrate the most, because you're still running the same number of kilometers, you're sweating, and so you don't drink as much, and that's actually where we run into problems with dehydration. So please make sure that you always have water with you. And one of the ways that we try and save on water bills is that if you always have a filled water bottle with you before you leave base camp, you've at least got 500 mils to a liter of water on you before you even have to start tapping into the camp water. Right. And to run, guys, make sure that you've got your shirts. Please, any of the kit that's essential to you. So a jacket or leggings, or maybe you want to bring compression pants for when you're done your run, but you still need to be sitting in the car for another 2 hours, for example. Make sure you pack everything it is that you actually need. You will have to pack a small bag with you. So by a small bag, I mean like a small backpack or a small gym bag that you can put a jersey, a jacket, a towel, your water bottle, maybe some fresh socks in there. All right, guys. But again, if you pack gigantic bags, if you pack like you're going to take a flight, that messes with the space for everybody else in the car. I'm just thinking now what I'll do is actually just take a picture of what would be a good sized car bag and what would be a good sized kit bag for the weekend. If you're running night shifts, please make sure you've got your reflective clothing and a headlamp with you. Joint Ease is going to be supplying some strapping and some massage oil for the weekend, but just bring a little bit extra with you just in case. We will be fully covered for the main event. Please make sure that you also bring your heart rate monitor. So whether it's on your watch or it's not, you need to strap it on, please do that. FitPro, our fitness partner, is actually going to need that data to be able to help us to understand where you are all individually. So please, if you can collect that kind of information for us, it's really going to make it a lot easier for the main event, for them just to assist with also training and whatever injuries that you're experiencing. And then obviously the riders have their kit, but then for your support staff, the people who are going to be acting as your thirds over the weekend, you are in charge of music. So you get to decide how the music is going to get played and go. So please make sure that you've got a good playlist. We do have ports and things that will go into the car, so but bring your charger along. That'll be important. Don't worry then about having a driver's license, but you just need to make sure that you have a good grip on the route and a good set of tunes ready to go. All right. The last thing that's important to just talk to you about is social media. And I know I hop on about this a lot, but this now is critical for us. So when we get to miniMAD, we are then exactly 11 weeks from the start of our main event, which is actually, we're in crunch time now. So this is a really good weekend for us to generate a lot of content, and as well as generating a lot of buzz around what it is that we're doing. So I'm also going to, along with this Excel spreadsheet, email you a social media cheat sheet. What that is a list of all of the sponsors that we need to mention. And this is now your job. And what you will understand also is you actually, when you're in the PACE vehicle, you have quite a bit of time on your hands actually. So we need to think about it in the way of almost like creating testimonials. So you'll have this cheat sheet with you. So for example, Volker is a fairly easy one. Take a picture of yourself with your socks and you can say, I've just run 10 Ks, feeling great, thanks Volker, and use a hashtag. Or it's about, getting ready to get these socks on the road, whatever it is. Liberty 2 Degrees and Bus Truck, who are now our two main sponsors. You need to, even if you're just writing a post about like me and my friends about to do our shift, even if you just tag them in those posts, it is critical. So guys, I need you to all take the social media quite seriously. And that's why I've given you the cheat sheet, so you know exactly who are the different partners, what their involvement is with us in terms of what you need to be thanking them for, and use it as some kind of organic testimonial, because it is, in all honesty, without these people we wouldn't have this event. So we need to thank them, we need to give them that credibility, because then we need more of their money. So please take that very seriously. It's also really exceptionally important now that you get all of your friends and family and colleagues to follow the Facebook page. because the Facebook page, we can give a little bit more information, but also Instagram. So please, guys, I put this in the last few reports, but I can see that only 2 people have actually done this. You need to go through your entire friend list and you need to invite them to the Facebook page. Not only does this mean that everyone then gets to follow along with what's happening, but it creates more reach, which is also in turn more benefit to our sponsors that we're going to be tagging in. So please, it is, yes, a time to practice the running and the ships and the base camp, but this is the time to actually generate the awareness that this cause actually needs. So this is the time that says, look how hard we're actually working. We're even practicing this thing because the cause is actually so important to us. So that communication element is really, really critical. So the more buzz that we could generate this weekend only hypes and ups the ante for the main event. So please, that'll be important. Guys, I think that I've covered everything. Please let me know if there's any questions that you do have, and I will send this through to all of you in an email. Otherwise, guys, I am so looking forward to this weekend. It's going to be amazing. Hashtag rock up and run, hashtag ride, run, represent, hashtag mad to adventures, hashtag team 19. I'm just continuing the hashtags. I'm not sure how to stop this video exactly. I'm going to find it though. Okay, bye.